Dude, what if ISIS is like really good on the YouTube short algorithm?
No, they got sick thumbnails.
And they're like, dude, top 3 reasons why you should be in ISIS. And they're like really good. They're like, oh shit, I love lists. I'm into this.
Just to catch us up to speed on some stuff that is apparently happening, the Supreme Court is about to have 2 major cases that could transform the way that we interact with the internet.
Uh-oh.
So next week...
Does that have to do with blockchain shit?
No, it doesn't actually.
AI shit?
U.S. Supreme... No, it doesn't. Thank you for interrupting.
Keep guessing,
Elon?
keep guessing.
Elon?
Keep guessing. Almost. He's involved.
Zuckerberg,
in
the
one,
AI?
maybe.
AI.
Possibly, not really.
Matrix.
Torrenting streams.
No, not,
My
that's
Myers
not the
coming
one.
back?
Bit Comet.
That's not the one.
Joe, you got one?
Huh?
Also not it. Okay, so next week the U.S. Supreme Court is set to hear 2 major cases involving big technology companies with key aspects of the internet on the line with its rulings later this year. First up on February 21st is Gonzalez versus Google. The underlying lawsuit was filed by the family of an American woman, Nohemi Gonzalez, who was killed in a 2015 ISIS attack in Paris. The family alleges that Google, which owns YouTube, is liable because its algorithms promoted extremist content to people likely to be susceptible to it. This case looks at whether Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act provides protection for an internet platform's automated recommendations. Google argues that it has immunity under the statute because ISIS, not YouTube, was the creator of the videos. Quote, Section 230 is the foundational law of the modern internet. It was devised in 1996 to encourage the development of internet platforms that would facilitate speech.
Shit's getting hairy.
How did Gonzalez pass away? Did they get killed by ISIS, or they joined ISIS and then...
It says who was killed in a 2015 ISIS attack in Paris.
ISIS attack.
Let's see.
So ISIS killed him.
Oh, I see.
Let's see.
Either way.
So they're an American eating croissants in Paris and they got attacked by ISIS?
So that's where it gets weird, right? Because all the Facebook stuff may get political, but we need regulations somewhere, right? You don't want every kid to be able to YouTube how to make a nuclear bomb and make one in the garage. But where is that line?
Yeah, that is scary.
I like nuclear bombs. We'll start there.
yeah, okay,
we'll start there and then work
over here. Yep, that was over here.
Okay, we got that down.
The question now boils down to, should tech companies control speech?
Right.
Because if ISIS opens and uploads a video and they deem that inappropriate, what if someone views being Democrat
Yeah.
What's extremist
inappropriate?
then?
Yeah, and to answer that earlier question, she was killed at one of the restaurants struck by terrorist attacks in France.
Yeah, because the regulation happens by a biased regulator.
Right.
I almost feel like what we're talking about is kind of separate. I agree with you, Mike. But then, is this person or this court case almost blaming Google for the Paris attack? Because I think they're like kind of like...
Yeah, they are, I think.
They are.
It's calling them, they're saying that they promote ISIS because the ISIS messages are allowed to live on YouTube.
If ISIS wasn't on YouTube, this person would still be alive.
Perhaps.
They're saying that their lack of regulation is the reason why it helped things like ISIS grow. And then so because ISIS grows now, you know, they're recruiting, and then maybe they recruited someone that would carry out these attacks. And then they're blaming Google overall for letting these type of things exist.
For the algorithm promoting more of what they looked for.
Yeah, because
More ISIS.
there was a time when ISIS promotion, like recruitment videos, was going all over YouTube.
Yeah.
So in a related case, here's the second one, just to give us more context on this, like you said, very kind of murky conversation here. In a related case, the Supreme Court will hear oral arguments on February 22nd in Twitter versus Tomnet. Relatives of Nawaras Alasaf, who was killed in a 2017 ISIS-related attack in Istanbul, argue that Twitter, Google, and Facebook should be held legally responsible, alleging that ISIS used the platforms to recruit members and that the tech companies didn't do enough to curb their extremist users. Twitter argues that the lower court ruling created a, quote, statute of impossible breadth, saying that businesses like banks and rental car companies would also be liable if a judge found that they could have done more to eradicate terrorists using those services.
Isn't this interesting? Because the exact same argument's going on big time opposite. That Twitter's too regulatory and YouTube's too regulatory, right? To be biased. But these people want them to be more regulatory.
Yeah.
And it's the same idea. Like, yeah, Democrat, Republican argument could be just as serious to some, depending on what actions people take.
It's like how they talk about the insurrection How they're like, that wouldn't have happened if you hadn't allowed them to organize on your platform.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's what's going on Twitter right now because the Matt Taibbi guy, he's the Twitter files that are coming out. They're showing how the FBI was working with the Democratic Party to silence, I guess, right wing or even not right wing fully, but just conservative.
Foreign conservative stuff too was.
And then all of that was getting, and then like COVID information, they wanted to control it. And silence people that were legitimate
Questioning
scientists that had questions. And so they're coming out with all of this stuff like on a daily basis, showing how the government and Twitter at the time were working together on silencing people that were opposing the popular thought. So that kind of stuff is interesting because I'm like, should government control what we read and what they think is responsible information?
Right.
Or should it be up to the people to read this information and choose for themselves? Because that's what I think a democracy should be, is the citizens should be, it's free information and we choose whether, we want to believe this or that or whatever, versus them thinking, oh, you know what, I think that this is better for you.
I don't disagree with you, but the issue becomes the person with the biggest wallet will be able to be the biggest voice.
And I think that's happening right now.
No, it is. But it just depends what voice we want to regulate or not. Because, what Russia can throw dollars and buy 1 million bots and tell us whatever we want to say. And so, based on us, and I was even complaining to Bart the other day about how Twitter changed, right? And you can get a verified thing by paying $5. Back in the day, I would more likely trust a verified thing because I'm like, oh, this guy's probably some type of journalist or some type of academic something. But now, every motherfucker's got a thing, and they're all talking about the trains in Hawaii.
But don't we also, I think to Joe's point, it also means, but we have to be in control of our ears.
No, for sure, but we're not in control of our ears.
So like, let's say ISIS has $1 billion, and they make all YouTube videos about how they should join or whatever. Isn't there some sort of also personal responsibility of what I consume and whether or not I believe in it or I take action?
For sure.
Or check the
Say
sources.
Yeah, but what source would you check if ISIS, let's take this for example, buys every media everywhere because they have the biggest wallet and the most connections online? So all you're seeing, and it doesn't say at ISIS says, let's go to war, right? It's fucking Barbara from Michigan, right? Because they bought that.
And Barbara's a safe name nowadays.
So they buy,
Safe American name.
So they buy the Google, right? Because we all know you can pay to get your link at the highest on Google. They buy Twitter. They buy all this. So when I go to fact check, I'm also reading ISIS.
Yeah.
But you're explaining legacy media and some online media now.
No, it's happening right now.
Yeah, like Pfizer, all those guys. That's how they do it.
So my point is that you can't control your ears and you can't fact check because when you go to fact check, it's also them.
Yeah. You just have no idea.
You have no fucking.
It's like what happened to Snopes.
Yeah.
Like how Snopes got bought.
Snopes is out, huh?
No, Snopes got bought.
Oh, by who?
I forgot who bought it, but
By Pfizer.
They sold out.
You know what I mean?
This is also
Like I'm just
everybody
scared because I can't fact check.
Plus, everybody just saw that recent thing about like AI recreating Joe Rogan on TikTok to like basically sell some fucking Amazon products.
Yeah.
You see that?
Crazy.
And then like we're obviously at the fucking breaking point of like AI being a mass understood concept.
Crazy.
Billions of dollars are getting poured into this thing from an investment point of view now because things like ChatGPT have gone off the wire.
So crazy.
And it's like we're at the tip of the iceberg of what AI is really about to do.
No, it already does.
Right? So it's
they
like-
gave us the dumb version.
Yeah, so
they got a version.
Ask that same question again though, like what does it mean to like pay attention to these platforms and understand what the truth is? Because even the people that maybe we took as truth, not just like the ISIS buying out like the Google ad and fucking first part, but it's also the people, literal people that maybe we perceive as truth speakers,
Right.
getting AI recreated, somehow finding its way onto our
100%.
platform, and then it's like, you know what I mean? Not everybody's gonna be a fucking detective.
Yeah.
No, and you can't, is my point. Even if you wanted a detective and spend all day trying to research something, you can't get an answer. Because I've looked into this train shit, and I've looked into all this, the balloons.
That's true.
You have no clue, bro.
That's really true.
You have
'Cause
no fucking
anytime
clue.
you talk about the news, I always catch myself going, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you really don't know what.
Or you try to at least go to some old school shit, but the legacy's fucked up too. You're like, well, New York Times used to be legitimate.
Post used to be legitimate.
You're like, oh, well, CNN said, but I don't.
I think Bezos just owns Washington Post now, right?
No, everyone owns everything.
Exactly. So
And then whether they may not be politically driven, they're money driven, and they probably have lobbyists and other companies that they're trying to, so it's either going to be political and power driven or money driven, and now you're fucked.
So
I'm moving to an island by myself.
seriously.
In a closer look at the Gonzalez v. Google case, in terms of understanding what the plaintiffs are arguing, What the plaintiffs argue is that automated recommendation services are the act of Twitter or Google or Facebook, and they are distinct from the bad acts of the speakers themselves, in this case ISIS. So Section 230 should not cover the recommendation in these cases, even if it covers the publication of that material.
They're blaming the algorithm.
Yeah.
In essence, right?
Yeah.
The case arises out of tragic terrorism events in Paris, and the family of one of the victims sued the internet platforms, in this case YouTube, for what they say is recommending videos potentially to individuals who might have been motivated thereby kind of radicalizing them. Google argues, of course, that Google has policies against terrorist content. Its automated and human moderation systems are not perfect, so it's possible that some terrorist content was recommended accidentally by its systems.
Accidentally.
But Google says the
a good video.
between its accidental acts and these events is very tenuous. And at that level, if this connection is enough, a lot of humanity's failures will be laid at the feet of internet platforms. Legal defense in this context on Section 230 is that it covers internet publishers, and one of the key things that publishers do is recommend. They filter, choose, decide, and prioritize what to publish and what not to publish. The act of sorting among various items is a core act of publishers, and that is exactly what Section 230 protects internet companies from being held liable for.
Yeah, that's like, can you blame phone companies for like having drug dealers, terrorists? Like, I mean, it's just a service that we all use. Yeah. So,
But as far as pushing more content out, that's the hard part.
Changes,
It has been a conversation, obviously, since, you know what I mean, fucking the elections with Trump, like, say, 7 years ago now.
Yeah, that's where it's a little different than phones, right? Because they do have a recommended, which they can control if they want.
Dude, what if ISIS is like really good on the YouTube short algorithm?
No, they got sick thumbnails.
And they're like, dude, top 3 reasons why you should be in ISIS. And they're like really good. They're like, oh shit, I love lists.
This is the Morongo theme song.
have you guys seen those videos?
No, I haven't.
It's modern. They use like actual cinematographers.
Really?
Like,
I heard their videos are really good.
They are.
No, I swear to God.
They are well produced.
I've heard people say the ISIS videos are like
I was shocked
good cinematography.
because also Vice did this whole thing on Western country folks joining ISIS. Right?
Which is so good.
Like people who grew up in like
Sympathizers,
England,
yeah.
all that stuff, they would move and they became ISIS followers. And then they would play these clips. And there's dudes just fucking doing karate, fucking jumping over barrels and shit.
Was that the video of them doing the like? I don't know if it was a joke or not, but it was like a video of them doing like
jumping jacks?
that, but like obstacle courses and like them training. Like, was that? I don't know if that was a fake video, but I remember seeing that going around.
How was the cinematography, Nick?
And it looked like just a steady cam, like just.
No, but there's it's like, you know how we have our army commercials, right? Where dudes are just like rappelling off whatever. Like they're doing stuff like that, and you're just like, what the fuck? So to me, I'm like, imagine being a guy that grew up in a country where you feel like you don't belong, and then you watch these videos, and then maybe they're the same religion as you, and you get made fun of your religion, and all these things, right? And it gives you a space to go like, oh yeah, we're fucking cool too. That's what's dangerous, because that's how they recruit everybody. Even kids in those areas, right? Like, they grow up and they're like, man, I see all these fucking bombs here, you know, Americans are blowing up our shit, and then they're like, oh, guess what? You could join us. We're actually like competing against America. That's dangerous.
And we'll send you to college.
And if the video loops perfectly back into it again, shit.
Oh, transitions? They got good transitions?
And that's why 3 top reasons to join ISIS.
Dude.